Hi, Tom Trento here, WNN 1470. Welcome on a breaking news afternoon. Probably most of you have heard what is going on. Maybe you have not heard what's going on. In fact, if you're watching TrentoVision.tv in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, you can see some of the live action of what is clearly a terrorist attack. This is a domestic terrorist attack. We don't know who the attackers are. The knee-jerk reaction usually is Islamic terrorism. We have no indication.
TrentoVision open.
We have no.
Where's the mute?
Okay, mute that out. We've got a lot going on in our studio because we are putting a million different pieces together to bring you the information that's necessary. And we've got to shut that computer off. But for those of you who have no idea what I'm speaking about, the Boston Marathon, the largest, I think it's the largest marathon in the world, certainly the most significant in many respects. People from all over the globe come to Boston and run in this historic marathon at just around 3 o'clock today, a couple of hours ago. It's 5:02 right now on the East Coast. So 3 o'clock Boston time, East Coast time, toward the end of the race, the 4-hour mark, which means there were still hundreds, if not thousands, of runners to complete the race. Because if you're real good, you finish in 2.5 hours, and then some people take 6, 7 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. So right at around the 4-hour mark, which was 3 p.m. East Coast time, at the finish line, where all the cameras would be, cameras again globally, hundreds if not thousands of cameras from news outlets covering this race, there were 2 explosions. And for the first hour or so, and even now, there's always the fog of war, if you will. We are at war. And as I said, and we're stating on the record right now, we have no idea if this is Islamic terrorism or homegrown terrorism. We're going to get into some of the speculation and the analysis of that in a second. 2 explosions occurred. One in front of the Mandarin Hotel in downtown Boston. And the Mandarin Hotel is a very high-level, high-tier, very exclusive, very expensive hotel with rooms probably in Boston for the marathon $1,000 a night if you can get a room there. There was an explosion that may have blown the windows out. So, but again, it's very difficult to do the forensics in the midst of all of this. But speculation or serious thinking right now is that possibly an IED, improvised explosive device, was placed in a garbage can, trash can, which is kind of strange because usually they're either removed or sealed. Was placed in a trash can close to the Mandarin Hotel, exploded, and then about 20 seconds later, about 100 yards away, a second explosion. There were 2 explosions so far. And as of 5:04 East Coast time right now, we're monitoring this for you. There have been at least 2, possibly 3 other IEDs found, either in the immediate vicinity or in sort of historic landmarks around the Boston area. There's a report, we haven't confirmed this yet, there's a report of an IED found at the JFK Library in Boston. There was a report of, hang on, I'm checking the latest we're getting.
Hey, I got a kind of an update here too. This is from the Tea Party community. They were actually expressing their immense outrage on the staff, and the staff is also very, very much upset about this whole bombing. And so everybody at the Tea Party community is highly upset at this bombing, at this cowardly attack, no matter who did it, regardless of a perpetrator. This is just a cowardly, dastardly attack.
Yeah, the second IED is at Charlestown Bunker Hill area, and let's see, in a parked post office truck. That's one of the reports we're getting. We have some friends, former military, who are on this for us. some friends that may be in the Boston area. The Tea Party community are activism partners. They put out an official statement, I guess a release condemning, obviously, the cowardly attack. As of right now, and most likely the injury and the death toll will increase. We have heard between 20 and 30 people severely injured. We have heard, and when we say we have heard, we're monitoring news outlets both on television. We're monitoring the written outlets on the website, and we're monitoring our own sources. So we have heard approximately 10 people have lost limbs, arms and legs, either an arm and a leg or both. Massive explosion, a massive explosion in a very confined area, which increases the injuries, obviously. So that's what's going on right now. This was not going to be our show for today, but clearly we will stay on this. We're going to get into some of our regular material. We're going to, as you can see on the split screen right now, we have the crew here. CJ's right next to me. What do you think of all this craziness?
It is crazy, and it's going to get crazier as the day goes on, and we start discovering who's responsible for this and why.
I'm kind of surprised that, somewhat surprised. Usually, the second or third hour into something as egregious, as bad as this, you start getting the wackos from Saudi Arabia and from the Middle East saying, "Oh, we did it." Everybody claiming some sort of victory of some attack at in a historic town, at a historic race. We haven't heard any of that. I have not seen anything on file yet as to who may be behind this.
Well,
but
plus it's tax day.
It is.
It's tax day.
It's tax day.
And so I was wondering, based on where they found the bombs, if there were any federal buildings or IRS offices or something like that had to do with tax day, not with Patriots Day, with tax day.
Tax day, April 15th, tax day today, and that's a day that a lot of anti-government people do not like, and we do have anti-government people. When I say anti-government people, that's not people
That's
like
not us.
That's not us. We are for the democratic process of the United States government. We're for the Constitution of the United States. We don't like those who are holding the White House right now. We believe they're driving the country to ruin. But there are, I can't take this. This is Jerry Gordon right now. We'll talk to him in a little bit. There are people out there that just hate any form of government, hate everything, and you have to, if you're going to do your investigative homework, you have to say, okay, April 15th, tax day. People hate the U.S. government. They would want to blow things up. We gotta keep that open as possible perpetrators of this heinous crime. In one sense, it doesn't really have the sign of Islamic terrorism. Usually there's suicide bombings, though lately in the U.S. there's been efforts at homegrown jihadis
Right.
having the lone wolf kind of approach, setting a bomb in Times Square, or the underwear bomber. So
Like we read in Insight.
Inspire magazine, and Inspire
yeah.
magazine, they teach you how to do these things, and they do teach you to set up a series of bombs and have the first responders come in to rescue, and then a secondary to kill more people. So, Mark, you seeing anything else that?
Well, I'm just checking the chat room, and somebody writes in the chat room, authorities ID a Saudi national as a suspect in the Boston bombing.
Well,
But I'm
that's
not
just speculation stuff.
Yeah, I don't know where the person got that information. I'm looking that up.
This is why we do what we do. Whether it's a Saudi attack or it's somebody else. I mean, we're here to actually expose this. This type of mentality. Unfortunately, what happens to be majority of the time, I mean, if you look at the evidence, it is typically a Muslim extremist. So,
Okay, here the New York Post is reporting investigators have a suspect, a Saudi Arabian national, in the horrific Boston Marathon bombings. Law enforcement sources said the 20-year-old suspect was under guard at an undisclosed Boston hospital. It was not immediately clear why the man was hospitalized and whether he was injured in the attack or in his apprehension. The man was caught less than 2 hours after the 2:50 p.m. bombing on the finish line of the race in the heart of Boston.
Yes, this report.
but this is unconfirmed, though, right?
Authorities have confirmed to the Post, to the New York Post, that they have identified a suspect, a Saudi national.
See if you can bring up the two-shot and see if they're talking about it on Fox right here.
So
If you can
we're
read
getting
the text.
confirmation
Can you read
now.
the caption?
And apparently he suffered shrapnel wounds. There was shrapnel. They also said, please shut down. Well, it's unclear whether they believe it's domestic. Well, we're going to sort this out for you in this hour. You're with Tom Trento, CJ, Mike Mark. Imam Abdullah is on assignment with some others. They're up at Tallahassee, Florida. Tomorrow is Muslim Day, Florida Capital Day, Muslim Day up there. If this is a Saudi national, if this is Islamic terrorism, should be a fun Muslim Day at the Capitol tomorrow. Ahmed Badir is going to come out condemning all of this.
You were asking earlier. Let's say it is a Muslim terrorist. What do they gain by blowing up a marathon? What do they gain by shutting that down?
Well, they're going to gain a ass whooping from the Brotherhood, from the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yeah,
because the Brotherhood does not want these guys blowing stuff up when
they're so successful without violence in this country. Why should they blow things up?
Well, this is again for our audience. Tom Trento here on TrentoVision.tv. Where am I looking? Right there. And we're on WNN 1470. This is our 1 hour, folks. As you know, we've transitioned our time from a 3 hour, primarily a radio show with call-ins, all of that, which was great. We loved it. But now more so, we're doing a 1 hour national security briefing, and we're working out our format as we have explained, and we're going to be bringing you experts. We got today and tomorrow was going to be on the American laws for American courts legislation that's running through Tallahassee right now. Wednesday, Diana West will be with us on Wednesday. She's coming back. Yes, we'll have Diana. Thursday, Friday, we're going to do a two-part series on The Project. The Project. Project is a document that was found in, maybe very relevant for today too. Was found in, was written in 1982 and discovered in 2004.
Philadelphia?
Philadelphia. The project is the first, the Muslim Brotherhood's explanatory memorandum, which was found in 2004 in Annandale, Virginia. Is the second phase. Project was actually discovered in 2001, September, October, in Switzerland, but it was written in 1982. And both of those comprise the Muslim Brotherhood's plan for taking over the United States of America. And we're going to go through that to give you a context and show you why typically the Brotherhood does not want to see this accelerated violence, because they believe in a slower takeover, a political takeover, cultural takeover. Al-Qaeda mindsets, which are all Sunni, these are all Sunni Muslims. Al-Qaeda believes that the U.S. system may be too impenetrable to just defeat politically, but that the American willpower is weak, and that spectacular attacks like New York and like this is not as spectacular as New York, but it's as emotionally devastating, will break the will of American people. And then they will put pressure on their politicians to get everybody out of the Middle East. Why do they want everybody out of the Middle East?
Mm-hmm.
Al-Quds, that's why. If we're not in the Middle East helping protect Israel, then they can just swarm on Israel and have some catastrophic event and either destroy Israel or take over Israel.
Or if Israel is not in the Middle East to protect us.
Yeah, exactly.
And to highlight what Tom's saying, it's all in a strategy of which way you look at it of milestones. One is they're in this stage.
Mics are not on.
Mine's on. Yeah.
No, we're getting a report that the echo again. We're like in another room. Your mics are off.
They're working fine on the stream.
Okay, somebody needs to check it outside. Let me see.
Pull up the audio mixer.
This is from one of our monitors. On what?
It's working fine. Everything's working fine here on our end.
That was 513. All right, let me check. I'm checking.
No, what I was saying was that there's two different strategies as far as the Brotherhood, like you're saying, and it's all different parts of the milestone. And the Al Qaeda overseas thinks if they bomb enough, that America will cave, like Israel has caved so many times in the past, and go into this. Okay, we'll give you whatever you want. And they're understanding that Israel is a lot like America in their mindset. So they start doing it, and the same way happened over in Britain. You start bombing people over in Britain, they cave. They turn around like in Spain. They caved into the demands. That's the Al Qaeda mindset, if you will. The Muslim Brotherhood mindset is 180 diametrically proposed. It's everything from within, a fifth column, if you will, to topple down societies. Now they're both working in sync together, but they are vast. It's one of the big great debates in Islam is whether you should do it the Muslim Brotherhood way or the Al Qaeda way.
Well,
and
whatever works.
But when you ever have a bomb blast, it's 180 opposite of what the Muslim
All right,
Brotherhood
I got
does.
some breaking news here. All right, at 17 minutes past 5 o'clock, WNN 1470, Tom Trento, your host here with CJ, Mike, and Mark. We're covering the Boston Marathon explosion, and as of right now, it's confirmed. Investigators have a Saudi Arabic national in custody, 20-year-old suspect. He's under guard right now at a Boston hospital. And they also have surveillance video of someone bringing multiple backpacks to the blast site. We had speculated on that earlier, Mark, before we went on the air.
Yeah, this is out of the Israeli model.
Sure.
Is what it is.
Thule Woltz was blown up by 40 pounds of explosives. Killed, injured 50-something people, killed 16.
You know what? We should try to get Mark Karlberg on the line. See if you may try to do that.
No, not right now.
thing?
No, it's 1 o'clock in the morning there.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Okay, you ready for this? Police also confirmed there's a third explosion at the JFK Presidential Library. Remember I said they found an IED?
Right.
It actually went off.
Yeah.
Not immediately clear how much damage was done at the JFK Presidential. All right, now something is strange here. Presidential Library and Museum. That bombing occurred 4:30, just before we came on the air, less than a mile from the marathon. As of right now, 12 people dead, 50 injured.
Right.
This is a report on the New York Post, and the New York Post has reporters all over Boston. So this is going to be pretty good information. Now, you got a 20-year-old Saudi in custody, and part of this report says you don't know if he was injured in the blast, or they're not saying if he was injured in the blast or if he was responsible for the blast, but he's in custody. What do you think? Now let's analyze this a little bit. And if you're looking at our screen on TrentoVision.tv, we're replaying right now the blast. This is the initial blast coming on the right side of our screen. That was right around 3:02 p.m. today. Then this blast is on that you see now was about 100 yards on the opposite side of the street about 20 seconds later. So these were coordinated. Mm-hmm. So you can't have one person setting off these with cell phones. The police immediately shut down everybody's cell phones. they probably just shut the whole system down. Went to AT&T, went to everybody, which means they're operating on their police bands.
Mm-hmm.
And remember the horror of communication at the World Trade Center
Yeah.
when the phones went out and the police radio bands went out? Supposedly the cities have hardened those so that the police can stay online when they shut the cell phones down, because the cell phones are used as triggering devices to set off backpack bombs.
Well, I wonder if it's going to turn out to be a jihad attack, and if it is, what better cover to use than to use tax day and to use classic American institutions that conservative groups would get blamed for attacking. So the JFK Library, who would attack that and why?
Or if the Saudi national who is in custody,
Yeah, I mean, that could,
he may have said, Allahu Akbar. I mean, he may be in custody, and they're obviously not going to say that
well,
yet.
nobody, I mean, excuse me, nobody knows that yet, but he could also just be a college student who happened to be watching the race, and because he's a Saudi,
He was
or
profiled.
looks Middle
He was
Eastern,
profiled.
he was profiled, or he might have been injured in the blast, and they picked him up and took him away and said, "Oh, you overextended your student visa or something, and so now we're
Yeah, we're going to talk to you for a little while.
talk to you for a bit." So, nobody knows what's.
No, I think what law enforcement officials will do, because there's several critically important dynamics that need to occur with something like this. Something wrong. They're working fine here. CJ got a new operating system. CJ got a new operating system. Somebody's looking at your computer.
Oh
CJ.
yeah. No.
Yeah, it's
did
called
not
Mark.
happen.
It's called Marks.
Fox has not mentioned the person of interest is a Saudi yet.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder why Ali bin
Go
Talal.
to CNN. Let's go to CNN. Let's take a look at CNN. 202. Yeah, it'll change.
All right.
Yeah, it's good. You got it. Here we go. Now we're looking at CNN.
I put it on a two-shot there, man. There you go.
All right, now we're monitoring CNN. They're usually pretty good coverage. They're showing the initial blast. Oh, you got to hit the orange button one more time. That's all. That's good. Nope. You got to exit out. You know how to exit out?
No.
It'll say exit somewhere there. All right, what are we doing? It's 5:23. Tom Trento, TrentoVision.tv. Breaking news: terrorist attack in Boston, Massachusetts. Clearly a terrorist attack. This is not a generator exploding. It's not a gas line exploding. It's not an accident.
Yeah.
This is clearly a terrorist attack. Who are the terrorists? We do not know. If you're just coming in at the bottom of the hour right now, you're getting in your car. CJ's here with me. Mike and Mark are here. Imam Abdullah is up in Tallahassee on assignment. Tomorrow we'll bring you live reporting from Tallahassee. It's Florida Capital Muslim Day every year. A cultural terrorist by the name of Ahmed Badir. He is a former leader of Council on American Islamic Relations. He resides in Tampa, Florida. He left CARE after the FBI. He had some friends in the FBI told him, "We ain't screwing around with CARE anymore. We're going to blackball CARE." He left and formed an organization, United Voices. Essentially a front group for CARE, for the Hamas, for all these organizations. And if you ask Ahmed Badir, is your organization a front group for Hamas? He's going to say, no, of course it's not. And the best way to understand that is when his lips are moving, he's lying, okay? So that's the best way to understand that. He is bringing 200 Muslims to Tallahassee tomorrow, and we have intercepted their emails. We have a way of doing that. And their plan is to shut down American laws for American courts. They believe that it is. I have to take this. I got to take this call.
Oh, I
Oh,
got.
you got to turn off the.
Hello.
You got to go somewhere else. Tom, you got to get way off.
I
mic.
got to read this. I googled Barack
I'm on the air
Obama
right
and
now, but I took your call.
Boston
What's up?
Marathon bombing, and And I have this report. President Barack Obama on Monday was briefed on the situation in Boston. Isn't that good that he was briefed? A White House official reports, quote, shortly after being notified of the incident around 3 p.m., the president received a briefing from Homeland Security Advisor Lisa Monaco and other members of his senior White House staff in the Oval Office. The president called Boston Mayor Tom Menino and Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick to express his concern for those who were injured and to make clear that his administration is ready to provide needed support as they respond to the incident.
Yeah.
So bombs going off in our cities,
Mhm.
and the White House says, sorry you're having some trouble over there. Call us if there's anything we can do to help. Are you kidding me?
And it's a typical.
Oh my gosh.
Well, because they're seeing a Muslim terrorist on this thing, and they're going to try to downplay this thing as much as possible. You watch what comes out of the administration of this thing.
Does this, since it happened at the Boston Marathon, does that make it fun place violence instead of
Fun place, yeah,
violence?
holiday violence.
TrentoVision is having technical difficulties. The screen
Good
just came up.
grief. Good grief.
Take a look at that.
Tom, while you were out,
Well-
I don't think that's us.
the president called Boston Mayor Tom Menino and
Oh,
Massachusetts
he's an
Governor
idiot.
Deval Patrick to express his concern for those who were injured and to make clear that his administration is ready to provide needed support as they respond to the incident.
They, as who?
As they, I guess the mayor and the governor
Oh.
of Massachusetts, it's their problem.
Well, Menino is a complete idiot. Now we're back. It's back now. Menino is a complete idiot, and he will mishandle this. We may need federal help. That guy, we dealt with him when the Roxbury Mosque was opened up in a black section of Boston. Tell you exactly when, June 25th, 2009, because we were out in front of it
Right,
protesting
right,
it.
yeah.
And Menino, useful idiot, was on the other side of the street praising Muslim jihadis, people that have a jihad background.
Yeah.
The guy is such a dummy that I wouldn't trust him with anything. And I don't know how he keeps getting elected in Boston. But we just got back from Boston. We were there this summer, and the streets are very narrow. It's an old town, old buildings, and this looks like the race was in part of the older part of the town. You can hurt a lot of people with a backpack bomb, that's for sure.
That's like
yeah,
what they
he-
used in London with the buses and the subways.
Thule's bombing, when he and his son were blown up and Daniel was
Right.
killed, there were 40 pounds of explosives. It took half the building out and then loaded with shrapnel. And remember, he said the shrapnel was dipped in poison, rat poison.
Oh, right.
So it would create all kinds of problems. Somebody just got nicked by it. So yes. Now the question is, why? Why does anybody want to do this? I mean, what's going on here?
I don't know.
I'll tell you one thing. Hang on, I'm getting more messages like crazy. Impossible. Okay.
So,
I
any
don't know.
news
Impossible
updates?
what?
Can't hear me.
I just talked to Slutty, and he says everything's 4x4 with him.
I get. Okay.
I'm just saying I'm getting.
I have two different people. Both wrote the same thing. Can't understand this microphone. All right. Well, I will.
Unplug it and plug that other one in and see if that's any better.
Which one?
Unplug that
Oh,
and plug that one in.
There's only one here.
No, unplug that.
Oh, put this guy back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see if this works. Hello. Now I can hear me better.
Okay.
okay.
I hear
I
me
was
better.
splitting the audio on the thing, but okay.
That may have done it. I think we found the problem, folks. Let's see. Our one monitor on the audio, if you can let us know right now how things are going. As breaking news at 5:30, this reminds me of December 14th, 2012. Remember that, Sandy Hook?
Yes, I
Yes,
do.
it did.
We walked into
Yeah.
the studio and we spent 3 hours on that sad event. Here's the problem with this. It's very, very difficult for one guy to plant 3 backpacks now, 3 explosions.
Yeah, this sounds like a conspiracy.
There's a few people involved with this.
And apparently there's more backpacks that are floating around there because they're blowing up backpacks. They're doing controlled explosions from what we heard earlier. So
that's what it's looking
Right,
like.
that they had found at least 2 more besides the 3 that they confirmed were explosive.
So yeah, and if we go back to the Israeli model when we talked with Mark Kahlberg and stuff like this, and you remember how Mark described how they would set bombs off in various areas in the most crowded public places at the most crowded times to give the maximum amount of damage effect to the.
Put that on. That
4.
yeah. I mean that just
They're
showed.
saying
Camera
100
3
plus.
Keep that shot up there
Yeah.
because they just showed the actual explosion. This is a very big explosion. And the place was packed with people, just like Mark. Well, yeah, Mark. I mean, we were in Israel last February, doing exactly what we're doing right now.
Now, Mark Kahlberg, just for our listening audience, we had a behind-the-scenes tour, if you will, with the head of the Israeli counterterrorism squad. And we got a 8-9 day tour with him of all the different terrorist places, and this has remarkable similarities to a terrorist bombing out of Israel right now. Now, what scares me about this is but the first signing of it.
It's very easy to do too.
And this is now they start to see they can do this and get away with it. There's going to be more and more and more of these types of attacks that we've been saying were going to be coming years ago. I'm actually surprised it's taking them this long after 9/11 to start doing these type of attacks. That's my surprise.
Well, yeah, and I think the reason why
We're wide open. We are so wide open.
we're very, very soft. The reason why there have not been extended and continual attacks is because the Brotherhood has a very strong. The Brotherhood are Sunnis. They're working with the Saudis. The Saudis run all the mosques. They have a very strong grip on the 2,000 mosques in the United States. And again, there is no need when you have a president that is doing your bidding, when you have a president that welcomes the Muslim Brotherhood into the White House, when you have a Secretary of State who picks as her top foreign advisor Uma Abedin. We did this the other night, Mark, when we did the presentation for California. Uma Abedin was on the Muslim Student Association for Georgetown University. Her mother and father are brothers and sisters, Muslim Brotherhood, Muslim Sisterhood. When you have highly placed people in the most powerful administration in the world, you don't need to be blowing up stupid bombs in the middle of a race in Boston. So this is an internal, for the sake of our audience, our expertise identifies the fact that there's an internal battle going on within if this is Islamic. And it's starting to point that way because we're starting to get
okay, let me give you a clue.
Confirmed reports.
All right, let me give you the demographics of the religion of Saudi Arabia. Okay. The percentage of Christians in Saudi Arabia, 0%. The percentage of Jews in Saudi Arabia, 0%. Percentage of Muslims in Saudi Arabia, 100%. Go look it up. So the guy is from Saudi Arabian national. He's a Muslim. Okay?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that's a pretty good
I think
conclusion.
my deductive reasoning leads me down that path.
Let's go to Huffington
But
Post.
you know what? This is
See what
this
HuffPost
is
says.
interesting too, because one little item that I just found in here is the police also have an all points bulletin for a yellow Penske truck or van that tried to get access to a marathon site, claiming it had medical supplies.
Oh my
and
God!
then sped
my
off
God.
or was turned away.
That's very bad. That's my first radio life. My first radio life was was April 19th, 1995, I think it was, with the explosion, Mara building in Oklahoma City, Timothy McVeigh, and it was a large moving van. I think it was right.
I actually have videos of both explosions off the.
Yeah, let's play those while
Hold
we're
on
talking.
1 second. Let me pull it up
This
here.
is the people that perpetrated this heinous crime knew that it would be extremely well covered, and this is what they want. They want the global news outlets to show this around the world, and there will be a statement released a little later saying, the such and such a group, and it could be a U.S. group. I mean, it could be,
Of course.
could be homegrown American terrorists that have nothing to do with Islam.
Okay.
Exactly.
But it's looking more and more like an Islam. What you got it, Mark?
They're just showing a rewind of.
And
The first explosion.
Yep. All
right, if you're driving in your automobile,
I don't know if you pulled I don't know if I have a full view on this mic.
Yeah, you got a few.
yeah, I've got a full view. And another
Boom! Look at that.
Another point here is that in November, the New York Marathon
All right.
was canceled due to
Go ahead. Cut back.
Hurricane Sandy.
Cut back.
Do you
Cut
remember
off my
that?
screen.
Yes. Yes.
So it could be that maybe they were the original targets of the attack was in New York, and then plans had to change when that marathon was canceled.
Very possible.
And we're having an image of the Boston Globe actually right now playing of the second explosion right here. Put it up, Mike. Second explosion.
I don't see that. Yeah.
Blasts in downtown Copley Square. We've been there. I mean, that's
Here it comes. Boom! Wow.
that is
That's
big.
that's a huge bomb.
That's
That's
pretty big.
Yeah.
Now, if that was a dirty bomb,
Yeah.
how
Goodbye.
far would that?
The shrapnel on it would have covered that. It would have taken out that entire line of people.
Well,
Well-
no, the smoke and whatever was coming out of there.
That's all nuclear. It would be all.
Well-
Be all radiation.
Typically, these bombs have either washers or nuts and bolts or pellets or shotgun pellets in them, and so they'll the big ball bearing shotgun pellets like the double aught buck type of ball bearings in them, and so that's probably what killed a lot of these people is actually not necessarily the blast, but a lot of the ball bearings and everything that comes out of it. Because you remember when we took those. When we were disassembling, Tom, the rockets over there in
Herzliya, yeah.
Yeah, and the rockets that were being launched were filled with what, Tom? Ball bearings, washers, and stuff. And that's what does the max amount of damage. It's not necessarily the blast. It's the,
Listen to this. Oh yeah, it's the shrapnel that goes flying through the air at the speed of sound and hits you in the head and kills you instantly. A little ball bearing. We are getting confirmed reports from many press outlets that it's a Saudi national. Okay.
Okay, well, yeah, but I think they're all reporting what the New York Post reported. I don't think anybody has independent confirmation of anything.
But at Huffington Post, they won't even say that. They just say guarding possible suspect. They don't even quote the fact that that component, a Saudi national, I cannot find that on the leftist blog.
They don't want to say that at all.
No, they won't say it because the White House won't say it.
Yeah. The only reason we're saying it is because the New York Post is a substantial publication, and they're quoting law enforcement authorities. Now, again, the fog of war, the craziness of bombs, but we're telling you what is the leading thought right now. Now, here's also what happened. Tonight when you watch this, and this is going to be all over the news tonight, believe me, at 5:39 in the afternoon, if you're listening on WNN 1470, you're here with Tom Trento, CJ, Mike, Mark. We are bringing you, we have a different show. Our show was going to be on Muslim Day in the Capitol, because for the state of Florida and for the United States, very important issues being debated right now up in the legislature, American laws for American courts, and a very significant event. 200 Muslims from the state of Florida will be in Tallahassee tomorrow.
I tell you, Badir's got to be upset about this whole bomb.
He ain't loving this.
I mean, this is going totally against everything he wants to do, just like we said.
The only reason he's loving it, or he will love it, is if it's some whack job Ted Kaczynski kind of anti-American guy. But if it's a Muslim, he'll oh man, there's some horrible pictures. But listen to this. Why did Badir pick the 16th of April this year? He's usually in March sometime. Remember, it's usually in March.
Yes.
Why would he pick the 16th of April to take 200 Muslims up to Tallahassee in the state of Florida
Anyway,
and argue? What's going on tomorrow? Anybody know what tomorrow is? What? Something to do with Israel?
The 15th. Yeah.
It's Independence Day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is the Israel's Independence Day, and if you think that's just a coincidence that Florida's top 3 or 4 cultural jihadi, and when we use the term cultural jihadi, what we mean is that and we're gonna bring you the show we were going to do today. We're going to bring you tomorrow. And we'll show you some pictures of Ahmed Badir in Tahrir Square helping overthrow Hosni Mubarak, the president of Egypt, back in February 2011. Yes, the gentleman that will be leading 200 Muslims
He's not a gentleman.
to Florida, to the state capital, Tallahassee, tomorrow. Spent a little time as a revolutionary in Egypt. Then we have a picture of him at Mecca, standing in front of the Kaaba, doing the Hajj, dressed in his white robe. And when you have, and he's an Egyptian, when you have an Egyptian who's this committed to Islam and to the Sharia, then, and he's this smart, he's a smart guy, you don't just make a mistake and pick Muslim Day on the same day of Israel's Independence Day. There's a symbolism there. That Florida, you want to recognize Israel's Independence Day? Great, you're going to recognize Muslims on the same day.
Yeah.
So,
well, actually, the Palestinians call it the Nakba.
The Nakba,
Yeah. So they're probably going to be
the
celebrating
catastrophe,
that,
the catastrophe.
And so today, Israelis have the Remembrance Day.
Mm-hmm.
And then tomorrow is Independence Day, and
So
that's
Remembrance.
based on the Hebrew calendar. So that's why it's different every year.
Yeah, but Badir is always in, because he's always there in March or so. But we'll deal with that tomorrow, and we'll also deal tomorrow
Well,
on
in
the
March,
same issue.
the president was in Israel,
Mm-hmm. Yes, he was. Our
so
president.
maybe he was waiting to see what came out of that.
Could be. But we will present a dossier tomorrow on Ahmed Badir and his cultural jihadi connections.
That was our first. That was our first road trip.
One of the
Yeah.
yes. We'll tell you how one of Badir's henchmen attacked our director of our technical director and communications director, J. Mark Campbell, attacked him at the state capitol and got arrested. Yes. Pled guilty, yeah. One of Badir's henchmen. Still, he's a professor at Florida Atlantic University. Oh, remember that school?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And tomorrow we have 2 of our intrepid reporters up there, and they will be reporting back live during the 5 o'clock hour and doing reports all through the day. This is in Tallahassee, Florida. And though our bank account is a little lean, we are offering a $25,000 reward. $25,000 reward to anyone who can find the word Islam, Sharia, or Muslim in either of the 2 official texts of American laws for American courts, the Senate bill or the House bill. Because right now there's a campaign attacking the authors of the bill, claiming they're anti-Muslim, anti-Sharia, anti-Islam. And we're saying if you can find those words in the bill, the United West will give you $25,000. So we're telling Badir and his cronies, put up or shut up. If you don't see the words there, then you lose. Shut your mouth and move on with life. But we'll do that tomorrow. Today we want to keep you up to date. Now it's up to 100 people. We're getting good
Yep.
reports. 100 people injured.
Good grief.
Now, when this thing first happened at 3 minutes past 2 o'clock, we have been studying suicide bombing and IED bombings for a long time, because as Mark said, This is a part of the methodology of Islamic Jihad. And if this is not Islamic Jihad, the West will see this more and more and more. And for those of you out there, we never know where they're going to strike. We happen to live in a state that was a launching pad for the World Trade Center bombings. Tremendous amount of activity by the, I don't know, how many Saudis of the 19? How many were Saudis? It was 15. 15 were Saudis.
The guy's a 20-year-old. They don't have released a name. He's a 20-year-old Saudi. Right in that demographic.
That's right in the middle, man. It's right there. God. He belongs. Now, we'll tell you right now, if, and I'm qualifying this, but if it is an Islamic attack by a Saudi jihadi, he doesn't operate alone. There is no lone wolf sort of thing. You need a cultural base, you need a religious base, and you need a financial base. And all of that is out of what? What is the base in America for our audience, our listeners and our viewers? Where's all of that stuff take place?
At the mosque, maybe?
Yeah, they're switching the name away.
At the Islamic Cultural Center.
Yeah, the Islamic. Well, they're shifting away from the term mosque because it has such a negative connotation.
Right, yeah.
It's the Islamic Center of Long Island, Islamic Center of Broward County, Islamic Center
of
with the Islamic Center of Southern California. That's a fun one.
Yeah,
it's the Islamic Center where the jihadis make contact with the very serious jihadis and get the financing for what they're going to do, get the training for what they're going to do. So I guarantee you, and if the Boston police are anything like the New York Police Department, wherever this 20-year-old was a member of, they already have that thing mapped out pretty well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But let's go for the other way for a second. It's 5:47. We got we've got about 10 minutes left in the show. Let's speculate for a moment and do our red teaming. For the listeners and the viewers, when we red team something, we take the other side. We look at a set of circumstances that seem to go in one direction. Then we say, okay, now let's go the other direction. Let's take a completely contrary or oppositional view. Let's discuss for a moment among us that this has nothing to do with Islamic Jihad, Muslim terrorists. The Saudi kid was, just a wonderful kid and caught in the crossfire. This was done by homegrown, anti-government, and we know this administration is watching the homegrown, anti-American, hardcore guys that live in the mountains and want to, destroy America. Let's say that is really where this came from. We're speculating, folks. We're doing an analysis. I just lost all the audio. Oh, that was me. I just hit my plug. That's why.
Hey, quit looking at me every time.
You're the lifeline, You're like I'm outside the space capsule, and I can't be breathing. What do
Put your oxygen mask on.
That's why you should be nice to him.
I can't breathe. I believe in it. How did you crack crew? Let that
more cigars.
Runners finish with that. More cigars. Let me open it up for our discussion for the sake of the audience. Why would an anti-government, anti-American whack job do this?
Well, first of all, an individual who is anti-government might not be anti-American.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the two don't necessarily go hand in hand.
Okay. So let's say
my first, my brain was split as soon as I heard about this between, obviously, I think jihad right away, but it is tax day, and I'm looking for a map of the area where the bombs went off to see if there's any federal government buildings in the area where the bombs were. Where the runners were running past, to see if there's a link there.
An IRS office or something like that.
Yeah.
Which we have seen come under attack. Yes.
Which has happened. The Social Security office in Arizona, nearly was unsuccessfully targeted for bombing, right?
Yes.
Earlier this year or late last year. Obviously, Oklahoma City is the big one, and it's Patriots Day. So
What is Patriots Day exactly?
I
I don't know exactly what that.
Patriots Day. They've been celebrating that in.
I think that's a New England deal.
It's a New England deal.
It's a New England deal that they've been doing for over 200 years.
I have it right here. Patriots Day is. It's an official day in Massachusetts and Maine. It's a civic holiday commemorating the anniversary. Oh, okay. The anniversary of the battles of Lexington and Concord. The first battles of the American Revolutionary War. It's observed the third Monday in April, which is today, in Massachusetts and Maine. It's a public school and is a public school observance day in Wisconsin. Observances and reenactments of the battles occur in Lexington, Massachusetts, around 6 a.m. in the morning. The Old Bridge in Concord, Massachusetts, around 9 a.m. Okay, so since 1969, Patriots Day was a replay of the
Right.
beginning of the Revolutionary War. So that's what's going on up there today.
Yeah.
And down in Alabama, they're having the Alabama Tax Rally Day, which is we're going to be.
Oh, we're
apparently
going to be
looks-
streaming that.
Well,
yeah.
they've been having some difficulties technically, but there's like a 50-50 shot of it going. But it's actually the broadcast is going to be there, and if it's working, it's working. If it's not, it's
So
not.
we're gonna stay on the air.
Yeah, we're actually going to switch over to.
Okay.
You're going to have to refresh your screen after this goes a new video. It's actually coming from Alabama. So.
All right, what Mark is saying right now is when we go off the air at 5:58, we're going to take a short break. Then around 6 o'clock, 1 minute after 6, we'll be back on the air. We're not going to.
We're not going to.
We're just going to broadcast an event that some of our activist partners are doing, and this is in Alabama. What is it exactly?
Tuscaloosa at the Alabama Tax Day Rally. Jan Morgan is speaking.
Oh,
Oh, cool.
And
Ken Crow.
Ken
right?
Crow is speaking.
Excellent.
And it's just they're going to be talking about things that we're all concerned about.
Well, yeah. Like how about?
It'll actually be starting in 7 minutes, immediately after the show.
Okay. Well, how about I watched the presentation that Pamela Geller gave at the Great Neck Chabad yesterday, and David Yerushalmi spoke. Our colleague in Sharia, the Threat. Jeff Weisenfeld spoke, did a great job. Then Greg Buckley Sr., the father of Greg Buckley Jr., the Lance Corporal who was killed in August in Afghanistan, spoke. And you can't listen to him. He spoke for about 20 minutes. I think we're going to play it at one of our shows.
Yeah.
Without,
we had it queued up today, but
without having Kleenex close by. But he said that the Afghan police are being paid $260 per month. They're all corrupt. They have young boys as sex slaves.
it's a huge problem.
One of the young boys, 16 years old, was commissioned to kill Greg Buckley's son, and they're paid $260 a month.
That's
And
a fortune in Afghanistan.
yeah, well, guess who pays it? You and
Mhm.
me
Yeah.
and you and you. Anybody paying taxes in the United States of America is paying the Afghan police right now. And this is why, the tax day meeting in Tuscaloosa, Alabama is so critical, because this is crazy stuff that we're
Right.
spending taxes on.
And so
Anyway, we got a new backdrop here, Mark.
yeah.
That looks good. Yeah.
You like it?
I like it.
Mike doesn't like it.
I like it. I like it.
It's kind of funny. It looks
Oh,
like
I
it looks like we're cartoon cutouts superimposed on a screen. It's kind of
Well,
weird.
that's about right. I mean,
What
too far off
problem
the
do you have
mark.
with that, CJ?
Not too far off the mark there. Next critique.
Next.
Well, last one, the people started hating the pillars, so I said, okay,
Yeah,
I'm getting rid of the pillars. All right, I got to get rid of the pillars.
Yeah, that was getting a little.
We all know this is all done via the green screen magic.
But guess what? We can have many backgrounds.
I could
All
do-
it takes is you right now to go into your pocketbooks if you're from
That's
New
right.
Jersey, purses if you're
And
from
we can
anywhere else in
hire
the
a
world.
graphics artist designer to
Yes.
create us some really cool backdrops.
And if you were to take out the little piece of paper where you can autograph. Send us an autographed little piece of paper. We'll fill in the rest of it. Just autograph that little piece of paper. Mail it to tom@TrentoVision.tv. And we'll fill it out, and we thank you. We'll be kind. We'll be very kind. But any donation is certainly appreciated. And like I said, folks, there's the mayor, Menino. Really, the guy is an idiot. I've dealt with him. And in situations like this, guess what? He's still an idiot.
3.
But our show today was going to be an update on Pamela Geller and her jihad at the synagogue. We'll bring you that tomorrow because it was a super success, an absolutely super success. We're going to bring you a little bit of video from it. And then we're going to dive into Florida Muslim Capital Day. We'll have one of the key analysts on this issue, Jerry Gordon, with us for a few minutes tomorrow, giving us input on that. And then our third segment, we're going to tell you about a new designation we received
Oh man, I can't even.
what do we
believe
get
a couple of
that.
days ago.
What are we getting now?
We have been designated as a hate group, the United West,
Uh.
as a hate group, by the United States Army.
That's right.
How about that?
And also Lieutenant General Jerry Blinken has been listed too.
He's been listed, yeah.
The
He's
former
his
commander.
own hate group.
He's his own
Yeah,
hate.
he's part of a hate
the
group.
former commander
He's
of
a
Delta
one-man
Force.
hate group.
Former commander of Delta Force.
And we will have
Hey, Greg.
a report from we taped a report earlier. We have a friend in South Korea, in Seoul, South Korea, and we were going to play that today, but we wanted to stay on this breaking news for you. We will play it tomorrow, and you'll hear from a guy who lives and works in Seoul, an American, a friend, and giving you the feel for what it's like right now with Kim Jong-un, the young 29-year-old, and today is his dad's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Kim Song-il.
Happy
Kim
birthday to
Song-il.
him.
Yes, happy birthday. And they have not fired the missile yet, and we don't know if they're going to. So we'll go through that tomorrow, and we'll tell you about our $25,000 reward if you can find a couple of words in
Yeah.
the bills.
And we'll see if this
But closing
civil
thoughts.
intifada.
30
happens.
seconds. No, 15 seconds. Closing thoughts.
No,
this.
just wait and see. Wait and see.
Mark, any
Don't want to
closing thoughts?
speculate.
Yeah.
Just awful for the victims.
It's awful
That's
for the
it.
victims. I'm actually surprised it took this long for it to happen. I thought it would happen a while back ago, especially after being in Israel and under Mark Kohlberg showing us our vulnerabilities here in
I'm
America.
surprised it
Yep,
wasn't at a
and we
mall.
got to close now, but it's looking like a jihad attack, and we'll know more tomorrow. We haven't confirmed that. That's the supposition. Thank you. Stay with us tomorrow. And in 2 minutes, we're going to be broadcasting a live
Right.
show, we think, out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Get your marching boots and let's go marching.
It actually should be a pretty good show. I mean, Jan Morgan's be speaking, Ken Crow's going to be speaking, and
And we're going to chaw right here and spit it out over by CJ. Okay?
But
All
okay.
right, see you
No,
later.
thanks to people.
We love people from Alabama.
Yeah.
All right.
My dad's from Alabama.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Fade black.